Yo, welcome to Uncle Freezie's Playhouse. What this is just a brief joint where I'm gonna sit back, relax, make sure the vibe is right, answer questions and things from you guys. Hang out for a little while, let you guys ask the questions that you want to have answered, and just kick it. Right? Hey, Miss Geraldine, how you doing? So if y'all got something y'all want to talk about, let me know. Let's talk about what it is that y'all want to talk about. Right? Let's do that. Let's talk about what it is that y'all want to talk about today. Right? Hey, Lily Phillips, what's good? Yeah, this is just a little something. A little something. This is all the shows are about y'all, but this right here is just a new something I'm just testing out. Want to give it a shot. Because I know a lot of times y'all put stuff in the chat and I don't get a chance to get to it. You know what I'm saying? Because the conversations always are unpredictable in nature. We kind of like it like that, but at the same time, it don't do y'all any justice. Hold on, let me get this mic straight, okay? Bim. There we go. There we go. Foy Trade, what's good? Subliminal 209. What's good? What's good? Hewlett Samuel is in the building. What's good? What's good, y'all? So here's my question for y'all to get the party started. D'Angelo, what's good? Here's my question for y'all to get the party started. Are we really upset about Tom Thibodeau's performance? Are we just upset that we didn't achieve the goal that we felt like we should have achieved this season? Is it just Tibbs, or is it we didn't reach the goal that we want to reach? Right? Osaduke, ho, what's good? So Lily Phillips says a little of both. That is very, very, very interesting. Malik Cologne, what is good? What's good? I'm asking this question because I just want to throw out an icebreaker. You know what I'm saying? Throw out an icebreaker. So Osaduke says they are more it's more about the goal not being reached and less about Tibbs as a coach. JJ, what's good? Chuck Allen is in the building. Ah, yes, sir. Field artillery. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I used to be in 2AD, Second Armored Division. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm sorry. 2AD. Pudge Nice ass new show. I think so. I think I always listen, man. I always wanted to do a show about y'all. just to chat. Me and a dude named Baked Beans was trying to do a show about y'all. Baked Beans disappeared. I hadn't heard from him. Look at that. Look at that. 41st Field Artillery. Bam. Yeah, man. Fort Stewart, Georgia. Yeah, man. So me and Baked Beans was trying to do a joint, and we named it Live with Baked Beans. Y'all notice I like the theme Live. Like, we had a Live with Baked Beans, and on Vibes and stuff, we have a show called Live that we do in the mornings. Me and Chuck Allen. Chuck Allen is, man, listen, Chuck Allen is great, y'all. Y'all gotta check out Chuck Allen. I think the universe is messing with Chuck with that microphone thing, but when he get it together, he be rocking, because he was rocking after he got the mic situation straightened out today. As soon as he got it straightened out, Chuck was rocking. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Chuck. Yeah, I mean, not Chuck. I'm sorry. Baked Beans. We did it that one time, man, and I ain't heard nothing. I to be honest with you, I think Baked Beans might be camera shy. I think that's what's up with it. That's my view. It's not like he don't have everything it take. And I was telling him that too. It's not like he don't have everything that it take. It's just, maybe, you know, he didn't want to get his, I think he had a camera issue going on. So JJ says, would you be cool with us drafting a center if we lose Mitch? At this point, I would still say best available player. And so if that player is Jalen Duren or Mark Williams, I'm okay. But if that player is Kessler Edwards, I like Kessler Edwards. I just don't like him that high in the draft. Yeah, man. So it depends on where we pick. If we pick 12, I don't want them drafting Kessler Edwards. You feel me? That, to me, that's a little bit too high. Sherwin M is in the building. Sherwin M is in the building. What's good, Sherwin M? Yo, Sherwin be right about a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And Sherwin be right about a lot of stuff, y'all. Hey, Pudge Nice, I don't know. I've been calling him. Man. He might have something going on. But listen, so I called him so much that I'm just going to give him his space. And when he's ready to call, and when he's ready to call me back, when he's ready to rock with y'all again, I'm sure he'll call or show up somewhere. So Sherwin M says, we must trade the draft pick. Right? I don't know, man. Because the thing is, not the trading of the pick itself, but what are we trading it for? Like, what are we getting? Sherwin M, what are we getting in return? Because I feel you about the quality. Like, if we're not getting quality for what we're going to be spending, like, for instance, say the number 12 pick will probably be making about $7.5 million, $8 million, right? Are we sure we want to be spending $8 million on a guy that's not going to play? You know what I'm saying? Troy Flett is in the building. Andrew College J says pass on Kessler Edwards. I agree. If we trade back and pick up another first and say are picking 18, and Kessler Edwards is there, I'm say do it quickly. Go get him. Hurry up. Mark Williams, 7'7" wingspan is a good pick. He can replace Taj next season. I think so. Keep the second rounder. Hey, listen, man, I'm all for. I would be okay if the Knicks didn't draft anybody. Right? But I did name my pup. This is a secret between us. I did name my puppy Ben. I did name my puppy Ben. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. So, yeah, man. So JJ says, why would we trade it for a win now player when we're not a win now team in this loaded East? Keep building. That's a great question. Let's talk about it. JJ, let's talk about it. JJ says, why would we trade it for a win now player when we are not a win now team and the East is loaded? Keep building. Rayology is in the building. Stafford Don is in the building. Keith Turner is in the building. 19 Con Man NYC 84 is in the building. What's good? Con Man, where you been at? What's good? What's good? It's good to see. Hey, Con Man, it's good to see you, man. What's good? Stafford Don says he thought it was big. Stafford Don said, I thought it was Benny. Yeah, it is Benny. It is Benny. Yeah. Bricks Nation is in the building. What's good? What's good, Bricks Nation? Listen, this whole hour, 90 minutes that we rocking is dedicated to y'all. I want y'all to get these questions out here, man. You know what I'm saying? So we can ask these questions out loud. We want to think out loud, right? This is our think out loud show, right? Like, we ain't gonna judge. Comment says, working only 2 jobs. Hey, just be safe with whatever, man. You know, whatever it is, like, however, just be safe. Take care of yourself. You feel me? AJ Bula. What's good? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Manchild says, you named your dog Ben Matherin? Kinda. Hey, check this out. I'm gonna show you. It's actually a joke, but behind the scenes joke between me and Cornerstone Kev. Right? Hey, if you look up there in the corner where you see Blorange tears, up here in the corner, if you see that, keep looking at that, and I'm gonna tell you why we named why Ben and Benny is funny to us. me and a dude named Cornerstone Cav have like this continuous joke behind the scenes about Benny Snake Eyes Johnson. That's part of it. What it's about. That's part of what it's about right there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all saw that movie Harlem Nights, but yeah, that's probably. So the name Benny had stuck in my mind. You know what I'm saying? So the name Benny had stuck in my mind. So I was like, man, because over the years, we done had dogs. We done had the Starks. We done had the Spree. We done had the Oakley. You know what I'm saying? We done named dogs after, you know what I'm saying? We done had the, you know what I'm saying? We done had the little small yapper dog named Clyde. You know what I'm saying? We done been through that stage already. So, you know, at some point, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to recycle names. So, yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, Ray, when you get a chance, I want to talk to you about the Utah Jazz thing. Rayology. When you get a chance, I want to talk to you about the Utah Jazz thing. Only when you got time, though. Whenever you get some time, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It kind of the Benny thing kind of hit home with me because, you know, as a diabetic, my vision be coming and going. You know what I'm saying? So when I see that, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what he going through. You know what I'm saying? Know exactly what he going through right now. Okay. So Canal Ben Lawyer was good. Was good. Y'all don't talk about Dyson Daniels. I don't know much about Dyson Daniels. Let me pull up his numbers. All right, let me go to the stars. Let me see. Wow. Is he really 6'6"? I thought he was 6'4". Okay. Okay, so I need some help with this. I need some help with this. Anybody know anything about Dyson Daniels that can help us? Because I don't know much about him. Who was rapping in the first bars of that intro? That thing fire. Which one? Which one? You talking about the KMD intro? Are you talking about the KMD intro? KBL, you talk about the KMD intro, right? It is okay. Malik Cologne says Frank with a better offense. Ooh. The thing about Frank is assertiveness. Let me check this out. So KBL says yes. All right. So let me I'm gonna play it a brief part, right? And then you tell me what it is, and then I can tell you who.
I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fans on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, but them I'd rather set the screen. My mama told me follow my dreams.
Yo, you talking about that? You talking about that? Yeah, man. That's the homie. Look, I'm gonna put hold on for just a second. I'm gonna put a link to this artist here. Right? I'm gonna put a link to it right here, and then that way you'll see, maybe you can subscribe. All right, give me a split second. I'm gonna put the link to his joint here. Yo, check this out. It's a joint called "No Debating That" by Dan Johns. So the artist's name is Dan Johns. He is in a collective called Divine Sons, and the name of the song is excuse me, y'all. The name of the song is called "Invisible People." So that's Dan Johns. It's actually a song by Divine Sons, but Dan Johns is the guy rapping. I know him personally. You know, we've been knowing each other for about 20 something years. Yeah. So he is in a group called a group called Divine Sons, and the intro is Invisible People, right? And the irony is, I thought about changing the intro. I thought it was about time to change up the intro, but if we get in love like that for the intro, man, we might keep it. I've been working behind the scenes with Chuck Allen, with Cully, with Jay Boogie, and so we have been working on a new intro, maybe where Uncle Freezie can spit some bars. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, Forbes Fields in the building. Yo, hey, PH, I've been seeing you. I've been seeing you on social media. You keep doing your thing, man. You got some beautiful people around you, man. Look like you got a beautiful life, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I've been checking out your social media stuff, man. Look like you got a beautiful life, bro. I'm mad jelly, bro. I'm jelly. It's like, and not trying to play you or nothing, but it's like Hallmark Channel. Like, you could just feel the love and all that stuff on there, man. Yo, keep doing your thing. Whatever it is that you're doing, yo, keep doing that, man. It seemed like you got a beautiful thing going on. And that's for real. There ain't no cap. I ain't, you know what I'm saying, BSing or nothing like that, bro. Don't take that disrespectfully. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Rome Fall Rock is in the building. What's good? Hey, man. So the intro, we'll see about the intro. You know what I'm saying? The joint is I like the way that my man is speaking to I like the way my man is speaking to life and how precious it is, and he's using game terms like chess and basketball and things like that we understand. So he dropping gems in a palatable way, right? Yeah, man, no doubt. Keep doing your thing, bro. Rome Far Rock was good. Somebody, hey, you said the joint is fire. You already know all the words. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It get me fired up, bro. It's one of them joints. The first time I heard it, I got the joint. Let me see. When did we get the joint? Like, I guess it's been like a year ago or something more than that. And the joint dropped, Invisible People dropped, and or the album is called The Beautiful, right? It dropped. I got like I jumped on it early, and what happened was I was taking my mom's to get her car checked out. It wasn't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with her car. It's just something like, I think what do you call it when the factory, when the company send you a letter like, yo, go get something out checked out. It might have been something faulty. Go to your nearest dealership to, what I'm saying, blah, blah, blah. A recall. Yeah, so she had a recall on a part for a car, right? And so we in my car, we in the Saturn, right? This is I don't know. I drove the Saturn instead of driving Marcy. So we in the Saturn, and the Saturn don't have great audio coming through. And plus I blew one of the speakers. I blew the speaker in the passenger door, and I never got it changed. So I'm listening to Invisible People in there, and she talking, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. You talking through the song, right? She like, what song? And so she get a little toasty, get a little attitude, like I'm trying to ignore her. But the song was so fire. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So she go on the inside, and I start blasting it in the car. And I'm like, yo, this got to be the KMD intro. This got to be it. Right? So we, I'm playing. I'm like, yo, this is. And so I finally get out of the Saturn, which no knock on the Saturn. It is what it is. It's like to describe. It's a View, Saturn View. It's like a mid-sized SUV type joint. You know what I'm saying? I got it to put a lot of miles on it, right? You got your. So I live in the country. Well, I don't live in the country, but yo, Boulevard 73, what's good? So the thing about it is I live in kind of like in a small town, a lot of miles. So instead of putting all the miles on the good car, we drive the whatever. Y'all get it. Andy N, what's good? What's good, my brother? Frank Ntilikina's #1 fan is in the building. Andy N is in the building. So Invisible People comes on. I'm like, yo, this is fire. So I hit my man up right away. As soon as the song go off, I'm like, yo, this is fire. He's like, yo, thank you, man. Did you hear the rest of the album yet? I'm like, no, I'm stuck on song #1 because it was the first song on the album. So I talked to him. I was like, yo, you gotta let me use this for the intro. And over a year later, here we are. Right? So Andy N says, we talking Knicks? Because if so, I'm hopping on. Yeah, we talking Knicks, man. I got to answer questions, though. Somebody asked me a direct question, man. I got to answer it. Andy N with his impatient self. D Block, what's good? Yo, that's our mans. What's up, D Block? What's good with you, man? It's good to see you. What's good, man? Hey, I predicted your Celtics to win the NBA Finals. I predicted your. Oh yeah, let me do this. So we just doing a show about. We just doing a joint, man, for the chat to ask questions and do all that stuff, because we get up here in the panel and stuff, and we have our own thoughts and all this stuff all the time. And so what I wanted to do was just open it up for the chat to come through, ask their questions. We just gonna hang out for a little while, probably for about another 30 minutes, an hour or so, because I got to stop by Mom Duke house. Y'all know how that is. Anybody out there, man, make sure, hey man, appreciate your moms while they're still here. Appreciate your moms while they're still here, man. You know what I'm saying? Yo, it's Black Andy. What's good? How you doing, man?
What up, Punk? You don't need to ask me twice, bro, to hop in.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So how you been getting along?
Listen, this Russia Ukraine thing is really close to me, so I'm holding up. I hope there's not going to be any situation coming to near me. I'm
Right.
like 50 miles, away from Ukraine, so that's really close.
That's
Actually,
it.
yeah, my city has the airport that they do all the help, from around the Europe and from the States and whatever. They
Right.
just fly to my city. So, whenever I want to go to sleep, I feel like I'm living straight up to JFK, all the planes patrolling the air
Right.
and stuff like that. So, that thing is crazy.
Yeah,
But,
man.
other than that, I'm good. I'm good, bro.
Bro, man, be safe, man. Make sure. And I know I don't have to tell you. I know I don't have to tell you because I know you're gonna do your thing. But I still
Yeah.
like to. I still like to have the words be in the air. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you're gonna do. I know you're gonna do what's best for you and the fam, right? But let me say this, bro. Let me ask you this because I've been wanting to ask you this for about 2 years. Are you ready to admit we may have been wrong about Frank Ntilikina?
Bro, I I got the poster rolled up, bro. I can just I got it rolled up, but I didn't throw away.
Still holding out hope, like one
Yo,
day. What?
I still got my Freezie, wait up, bro. Wait up. Look at this, bro. Look at this.
Wow!
Uh,
Wow!
an autographed Frank Ntilikina picture, sports memorabilia. I won that from Sim, and he sent it, to Poland for me.
Oh wow!
So
Wow!
it was like 3 years ago. Frank looks like, bro, he didn't have, hair under his armpits even there. He was so young.
Right, right. He looked like he was, yeah, man. Looked like he was like 17, 15,
Yeah,
15 even.
exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. So I see you replaced him with Miles McBride right now.
Yeah. He's the new GOAT, so
Yeah. Yeah, 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 man. So we have a lot of things going on in Knicks universe, right? A lot of questions in the air, a lot of uncertainty, right? Fans are in a weird place, and I'm one of them, right? And I don't know if I clearly stated this in the live stream because you know how it is when you get 7 to 8 people on a live stream panel, and you try to say one thing and you get cut off, and then whatever people hear, they run with that part. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, I am operating as a Knicks fan. I am operating as a fan of a playoff team that had a bad season, as opposed to operating as a Knicks fan that knows we are a bad team and the playoff was a one-off. And the majority of fans seem to believe that I come in contact with seem to believe that the Knicks are a lottery team that made the playoffs this one time and getting back. What's up, Ray? And getting back into the lottery is more the status quo as opposed to the playoffs.
well, Freezy, I think we are still in the rebuild mode, but not in the tear down, stage.
Right.
I think we did the tear down stage. We are still in the, almost touching the bottom, but we are, we literally feel the floor and we can make a jump right about any time that we think that's going to be correct. So we have the contracts, we can use them in a trade. We're gonna have the, cap flexibility because the contracts can go off the books in a year or two. So that's not the worst situation that you can be in. And that's all of the positives that I have.
Right. I was gonna say. I was gonna say, man. I was gonna say. So Ray, what's good, man?
Yeah, man. How you guys doing, man?
What up, bro?
Not much, man. Just one day at a time. I think we're all just trying to take it one day
Exactly.
at a time.
I'm a Knicks fan though, bro. I need for this one day at a time to hurry up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about patience, right?
Yeah,
Like who's
yeah.
been more patient than Knicks fans?
Yeah. Yankees fans, maybe. Yeah, no.
Come on, man.
Nah,
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't
nah,
do it. Don't do
nah. Knicks
it.
fans and Yankees fans, bro. They're just like, yeah, let's rebuild in 4 months. Like,
Yeah.
like, no, you can't rebuild in 4
In
months.
one off season, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So I heard your call to talk about the Utah situation because ladies and gentlemen, Utah's got problems. Like they got problems, real life, more than what New York Knicks actually have. They got problems. You are top of the league in payroll. You have you have 8 draft picks through 2028. None this year, one next year. You're a small market, non-free agent. You know what? Uncle Freezie did correct me on that. Don't say small market, but they are a non-free agent destination team. So the bigger question you have to ask Utah, if you're in their front office, is, well, how are you running this back? How are you adding talent? And they don't have the means anywhere to add talent. So, like I said, they got problems.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ray. I think they are on the verge to break that thing up and literally tear it down and trade everyone on that roster. Everyone, because I don't see, if you think about it, and you got to trade Donovan Mitchell, you got to trade Ruby Gobert after that, and you got to get Mike Conley out of there like this offseason because his contract is so short. So if you want to have anything for him, you got to trade him now. And and after that, neither Royce O'Neal or Bogdan Bogdanovic are guys that you got to stick with because they ain't pieces to the puzzle. So you got to get rid of literally the whole roster there.
Right,
It's
right.
really bad, Uncle Freezy. Like it's really, really bad. And I only
Right.
took some time a couple of days ago to like really read what they're going through. I don't even want to go into the Utah Jazz community because they are tearing Donovan Mitchell a new one. Like it's just really bad. And it sort of gives me sort of an appreciation for what we have. But the problem is with us, with great power comes great responsibility.
Right,
You
right,
know, we have all these assets. We have, we don't have cap room right now, but we have 3 to 4 expiring deals. We have 24 draft picks through 2028. Like we have options. We can do things, but we also have the ability to really, really nick this thing up.
right,
Yeah,
right.
and listen, I think I'm literally when I'm watching the Jazz games, I literally think that Donovan Mitchell might be sabotaging these games. That dude literally doesn't care about defense. None. He looks like he's not even like he doesn't care about defense, and I think that goes back to the situation with Rudy Gobert and the virus thing, right? With the interview that he did with touching all the mic stuff, and I think that rubbed Donovan the wrong way, and I
Right.
think they didn't never straighten that thing up, and I think that's really causing rifts in the organization.
Yeah, and they didn't do it the right way, huh?
You know
Yeah.
what's crazy? Donovan Mitchell. If you read his draft report, scouting report, he was actually coming in as a defensive prospect. Like
Yeah.
he actually could stay in front of people, and you thought he was going to be a nuisance on defense. And obviously, he upped his offensive game, but the defense is really bad. Like I didn't think it would be this bad, but it's really bad.
Yeah, I think it's more about the effort, though. And he was injured. That might have taken a toll on him, but I
Yeah,
think it's more still about effort because I think he's a smart player. So the IQ is there, so the awareness should be there. But he literally looks like,
he's checked out.
yeah. And listen, there were reports that if they're gonna go out in the first round, that he's gonna look for another team. Maybe
Mhm.
he's just picking that route, and he's like literally sabotaging the Jazz to blow it up.
I know it's a rumor, but you don't leak that information just to leak that information. Like somebody knows something, and that's the
Yeah.
question that I have behind Donovan Mitchell because it's almost like he wants to play good guy for the media, but at the same time, he doesn't want to do the James Harden thing where it's like you're showing up and you're out of shape and you're not willing and all this different stuff. So I question a lot of that, but it's undeniable that he's still a top tier talent. It's just, and that's what we need. If you want to make a run in this loaded Eastern Conference, you need impact players. You need talent. Period. End of story. Um, I just, I don't know because Donovan Mitchell doesn't play on the ball. He plays off the ball with a Mike Conley, who is falling apart in his own rights as a 34-year-old point guard. The contract isn't ridiculous. It's just the injuries have caught up to Mike Conley. So I don't know. Gobert has the real value for that team. If I'm being honest, like he is a defensive stud, and no one else plays defense. So they funnel everything to Gobert to just basically clean up everything.
Right.
But I don't know, man. The Utah situation is just really bad.
Is this not seeming like it's coming from out of nowhere though? And the reason why I ask is because I understand the Rudy Gobert Donovan Mitchell rift. I understand the defensive coaches, unlike offensive coaches, defensive coaches, their message just seems to rub and rub. You know what I'm saying? It's like you could only have a defensive-minded head coach for so long before it's time to move on. Because preaching a certain message grinds on players because there is no significant statistical value that you can put forth in the media or in the basketball stratosphere that validates, you being a good player. Like, for instance, the example is if you have a great offensive coach, fans can look at points per game and assists, right? But for defensive coaches, when somebody is great, you're like, what are you looking at? Oh man, he killed it on his rotations tonight. Basketball fans in general don't speak to those. I mean, basketball nerds like ourselves, like us, we will. But people don't buy jerseys because, a guy, aced all his defensive rotations and closeouts. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so Quinn Snyder is one of those guys. Young Tibbs, like he preaches this thing. You got to do it. And so I think that the grinding, I think Quinn Snyder might be gone in order to keep Donovan Mitchell, basically is what I'm getting at.
I think he has a rift with the. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, Freezie, the question for me is like, is there any other coach that can build something with the pieces that Quinn Snyder had for so many years? It's like sometimes it's like you got all the clay around. You can't do a vase or whatever with the same thing, right? So you can have another philosophy, some other offense, some other defense.
Right.
But listen, sometimes if things aren't working out, you gotta blow it up. And right. I think the Jazz are in that stage. There's literally no way back.
Right.
It's going to be hard for them to figure this out, and the only way that they can make room to sort of rebuild and put this back all together is with draft picks. And again, as I mentioned, they only have 8 through 2028. Only 8. None this year. Only 1 next year. They are in a really bad place. And I really thought to myself, because everyone kept saying, well, they got Donovan Mitchell. Like, why would they give us their best player? It's kind of like, well, then how? You also got to ask yourself the question: how are they adding talent? How are they adding pieces to that? Because remember, it's a non-free agent destination. You got a free agent class. How are you adding talent to a high payroll that is only a first-round playoff berth at best? And I think Danny Ainge has really kind of come through, and he's going to turn that upside. He's going to turn the organization upside down. This Danny Ainge we talking about, like he's not bending to no one. He's coming through to really make moves and do his thing. I'm sorry, Sofinger, go ahead.
Oh no, I was shutting up because I didn't want to interrupt you because you was on a roll. Just want to say what's going on, fellas. Shout out
What's up?
everybody in the chat.
What's
Hey,
good, boss?
yeah, man. Hey, both Andy and Ray coming out with both barrels loaded about what they're talking about. So I'm just gonna try to get in where I fit in. Um, it's an ugly situation they got going on in Utah, and the best piece, the only way they can turn things around, they're gonna have to trade Mitchell. Period. And the fact that they're draft pick deficient, and you're going to have to build through the draft. However, this isn't the strongest of the strong drafts, as I say. So they will have to figure out what they're going to do. We have pieces, and I know it's starting to circulate the rumors and the words, even within the chat we've seen. We'd like to get Donovan in, um, but you got to see how things go. Snyder could be axed out because I know if he gets cut loose, his name has been I've seen his name mentioned with the Lakers as well. And I just saw a report. I want to say his name if he gets cut loose with the Kings. So they got a situation going on in Utah, and it's ugly. It's an ugly situation, man. And it's not a destination that a big name free agent wants to go. I mean, when you think of Utah and their history, the Jazz in history, you always think of Mailman and Stockton.
Right.
That's they might as well erect statues to both of them because besides Mark Eaton when he was there, and I know I'm going way back in the day on that.
Adrian Dantley.
Oh yeah. But
Yep.
but how long was he there though, Freeze?
He was there for,
For a little bit, but he kind of got up out of there. But it's not a place that you want to see a
Darren
big
Williams,
name go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Darren Williams. Yeah.
And Soulfinger skipping Jeff Hornacek, right?
Yeah. Hey, for Utah, but that's a name that you said Knicks Nation that your ears start to bleed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
PTSD.
And for the record, I think Hornacek is probably a top 50 shooting guard of all time. For the record.
No, he was. He's a hell of a player. He was a hell of a player, man. But it's just
shoot.
But coming here with the situation we had as a coach,
not top 50 player, because I know some people they're gonna run the CK2K and be like, Uncle Freezie said Hornacek was top 50 all time. No, top 50 shooting guard, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Yeah, they just coming here to the Knicks with the Phil Jackson situation was a bad situation for him because he couldn't even run his offense. That what made it so bad. That's a debacle that we got through. But man, Utah, you think about destinations as a free agent. If you looking at Utah, you're like, unless you really like the outdoors and stuff like that, it's nothing. I mean, unless you there, and no disrespect to Utah if that's what you like, but I just don't see. You didn't see the LeBron, you see like at the time of his height, LeBron said, I'm gonna go to Utah because they got such great tradition. I'm gonna go there and bring a championship. I mean, when Pippen left Chicago, he wound up going to Portland. You didn't see him go, I'm going to Utah to, win a championship, go play with the mailman. It wasn't that, it's not a hot spot like that, man. Right. It's gonna be real interesting, man, to see how they're gonna peel this nasty onion. And go from there.
Right.
It's one of the major reasons why I'm also I'm on the Donovan Mitchell bandwagon or train to come here, but because we as an organization have never been in the position that we've been in asset wise, among so many other things. Look, if you think Donovan Mitchell is going to be the superstar you think he's going to be, his contract ends in 2026. At 37 million. This guy's not even touching 40 million. Let him become a free agent and walk here. I'm not gutting my roster to just get him because Utah's plan is to get rid of him. It's kind of listen, I'll give you Julius. I'm sad to say I'll pass up IQ, maybe 2 first-round picks and that's it. Utah, no. If Utah says no, okay, cool. Enjoy your problems. Like I'm so, especially because we're still in a loaded Eastern Conference. We still haven't figured out do we want to be a playoff team, a play-in team, or a lottery team? And I'm also still trying to figure out year 3 Obi and IQ. I'm still trying to figure out year 4 RJ and Cam. There's so many questions that exist with this that I don't know if I'm willing to just be like, well, I'm going to go get Donovan Mitchell. Because where does that get you? Okay, maybe 6 seed, but again, where does it get you? The East is loaded. You better believe the East will get better come next year. It's not going to get easier.
Right.
Yeah, man, that's something else to think about because, like you said, the East reloaded. Now, just think about in the future because I saw before I came in, I saw somebody put in the chat. They were thinking that I can't remember. I had to see where it was. We were saying he mentioned Miami and Donovan because Pat Riley would do something like that, do something slick. I wouldn't put it past Pat Riley. He's the one cat in the East I could see doing something real slick and getting Donovan and add them into the mix with them. Lord forbid if that was to happen, man. So I would. The East is like the old wrestling matches used to have. Hell in a Cell. The East is starting to turn into The East is starting to turn in Hell in a Cell. All this talk about the West. Man, we seeing powers in the East go the way they're going. Miami's the defense. Defense is one of the main things. Like you're saying with a certain coach, I think just Spoelstra just has a way with it. Granted, he is a Pat Riley disciple. It's just the way he puts it together and relates to the team and things. And then Milwaukee, they built that team, and Giannis is still young. I mean, Giannis is what 26,
27,
27. Yeah. So he hasn't even hit 30 yet. So that's something that's scary when you think about it. And he's getting better all the time. He keeps getting better.
Yep.
And then they can move pieces around. Boston, look, man, Boston got the right coach, man. And that the Popovich tree bears a lot of fruit when it comes to coaches, man.
Yeah.
So,
Andy, what you think?
Listen, my question is about this whole East Conference thing. Is are we willing to wait till those guys, like the Bostons, the Milwaukees, the Heat, are on the downhill?
Man.
I don't think you can sell that to the Knicks fan base, right?
No.
Listen, we're going to be competitive, but we're going to be good in 5 years, in 7 years, in 8 years. I don't think you can sell that thing.
And you can't, man. You can't, because if anybody buy that, if anybody's willing to buy that, look, I got beachfront property in Antarctica. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We've wasted too much time trying to put band-aids on a wound that requires stitches for the longest amount of time. So at this point, with how long it's been since us being a winning product, it's a consistent winning product because obviously we had that one good year under Woodson, with Melo and so on and so forth. But you waited too long. You built this thing the wrong way for so long that when we were screaming back in the early 2000s, again, Uncle Freezie had brought up in a previous show that we did. Spike Lee came out to the newspaper and basically told us. I remember when he came out and said,
right,
Knicks fans will be we will be on the side of a rebuild if you tell us that's what you want to do. We'll support it.
Right.
But we did all these other things. Listen, I don't want to go back down that road because it's PTSD for every Knicks fan. But we just made so many stopgap moves. It's just like now we demand a winner and we want the winner now, and you have to give it to us right now.
Right. If I may.
Sure.
If I may, I want to run this scenario by the three of you guys, right? If I am Leon Rose, I understand my mortality as a team president, right? Because officially we're going into year 3 of the Leon Rose regime, right? So you're looking at maybe, getting close to halfway of the contract or whatever, or the amount of time given, right? If I am Leon Rose, and this is just a scenario, right? I think I grab the bull by the horns. I don't allow this thing to unfold in a natural rebuild sense, because the natural rebuild doesn't guarantee you that you'll meet the end game. Because if you look at teams around the NBA that did the natural rebuild, they hadn't just been rebuilding for 5 years. They've been rebuilding forever.
Yeah.
Right. Look at your Houston Rockets. Without 2 top 100 players all time and Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady, without Hakeem Olajuwon, what have the Rockets been really? They're in their natural state of existence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Look at the Orlando Magic, the perpetual state of rebuild.
Yeah.
Without Dwight Howard, the number one pick in the draft, without Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway and Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott, they're in their perpetual state.
They had a Tracy McGrady and Grant Hill now, even though Grant Hill was hurt.
It took bold moves for them to get out of that natural state of being. Look at the Chicago Bulls. Without Derrick Rose, the number one pick in the draft, without Michael Jordan, they are in their perpetual state of nebulous, that weird state of 38 to 48 wins.
I wouldn't even say 48. I wouldn't even say 48, Freezie. It's 38. Let's keep it at 38 to 42.
Right. Look at the Detroit Pistons. Without the Joe Dumars era, the Isaiah Thomas era, those guys, that collection of synergy and talent and lightning in the bottle. Without that, what have the Detroit Pistons been? Aside from, they had their 2 eras, right? But outside of the Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace era, and the Isaiah Thomas era, what have they really been? Right? So look at Oklahoma City without the KD, James Harden, and I'm talking about just Oklahoma, not Seattle, right? Because Seattle is another example of the same thing, right? Yeah. So if I'm the Knicks, what I say is I understand the rebuild and those that want to rebuild. What I'm going to say is I'm going to rebuild aggressively, right? And what that means is say the Knicks get the 12th pick, right? And I feel like I believe in a guy in this draft and he's out of reach. What I'm doing is trading the kit and caboodle for that guy that's out of reach. Like, say, for instance, Chet Holmgren goes number 1, Paolo Banchero goes number 2, and Jabari Smith is on the board at 3, right? And we have the 12th pick. I'm packaging the 12th pick and other assets to get this guy that I believe in, right? Because in the grand scheme of things, Jabari Smith is a good wing defender with the potential to be great under the right coach. He's a great shooter, right? A great shooter. He is the prototype guy that can shoot the 3, guy that can defend on the perimeter. Now, can he defend? Now, is he a rim protector? No, whatever. You're not going to get, guys are not going to be a perimeter defender, a rim protector, an anchor on your defense. Guys just not going to be all those things at once, right? But what I'm offering to you guys is this. If you believe in a Jaden Ivey, if you believe in a Jabari Smith, right? I say be aggressive in your rebuild. Don't be passive. Don't allow the board to play out in front of you and you try to make the right moves in succession, hoping that every decision that you make is going to be correct. Like don't let it be chess, right? What I'm saying is go get these young guys, be aggressive and go get them. Because historically, teams that rebuild are always rebuilding, right? Because think about the Philadelphia 76ers, right?
God, the process.
Trust the process, right? But think about this. When the Sixers were good, they had generational talent that came to them. They got Dr. J out of the ABA. They got Allen Iverson with the first pick in the NBA draft because they earned it. They earned Allen Iverson because they were terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
They earned Joel Embiid. They earned Ben Simmons. They earned those guys because they were terrible. And then look at them right now. Have they won a championship since Embiid and Simmons have been in the league?
No,
Have they been to the finals?
no.
So what I'm offering is a different way of thinking about our rebuild, because we can't wait on Giannis, right? Because RJ Barrett will be 22 in June. Giannis is 27. So if we wait for Giannis to get out of his prime, say in 6 years, our Knicks fans going to be willing to wait 6 years. Think about this. Jason Tatum is only 3 years older than RJ Barrett. Are we going to wait for Jason Tatum to get out of his prime before we make our move? What I'm saying, what I'm offering is this, and this is just for conversation only, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know some people will be like, they'll be on Knicks fan TV like, Uncle Freezie said, just hear me out. Hear me out before you overreact, y'all. Hear me out before you overreact. This is just one line of thinking. I want to offer an alternative to what we have been saying, because we've been beating a dead horse. We've been saying, let's rebuild slowly and do it the right way. But we preach that to a Knicks fan, a New York fan base that is the most impatient fan base in professional sports. Them and probably not Real Madrid. What's the soccer team? The soccer team that'll fire everybody if they don't win a championship. I forget who they are. Manchester United. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Us and Manchester United are probably in the same Dallas Cowboys, right? We are just not going to be patient, right? So what I'm getting at is, what if the Knicks take this rebuild and are aggressive with it, as opposed to depending on RJ Barrett to become more consistent as a scorer?
Wow, I've never thought of it like that. Aggressive.
Ray, if I can go, I think, Freezie, that this is exactly what the front office is doing. They are trying to be flexible as the cap situation goes. Try to keep the roster younger, but you always have to have a vet around on basically every position, right? But those guys are playing because they have to have value in case of a trade that pops up for a disgruntled star, like nowadays. It's going to be Donovan Mitchell or even a Jalen Brunson. So they're going to make a move. But I think for this plan to be in full effect and in full readiness just to make that massive trade, is that the Knicks, with the current young flexible roster, they have to get somehow into the play-ins playoffs. Because if we're going to be like 11 seed, 12 seed, whatever, I don't think that one move gets you, to the finals, to the conference finals, like top 4, right? So we got to be competitive, and that one move caps you out, but also gets you to the top 3, top 4, and then somehow you get to make a smaller move, and then you're able to compete for the top prize, right? Because if you, for example, make the move too soon and you get cap strapped, you won't be able to make a move. And then you gotta rely on your negotiation skills of players showing out, and then if they show out, you gotta trade them.
Well, their stock is high, right?
Yeah, and that's more of a trick to do than people think. I think that's what we were trying to do with Alec Burks. I don't know if there's some team out there that saw so many things from Alec Burks that they're like, okay, this is our missing piece. I don't think that he was that good, but I think there definitely are contenders that think, listen, Alec Burks was so versatile. He was playing the point. He was playing, the small forward position. He can score off the bench and stuff like that. That he can be maybe not our missing piece, but a huge asset for us to take that 2-3 seed jump. It might be like that.
Right.
But then again, you won't have that big of a comeback, for a trade for Alec Burks alone, right?
Right.
And like Freezie said, for me at this point, you got to look at the age prospect. And for example, at this time, it's got to be Alec Burks, it's got to be Nerlens Noel. It might have been, even Julius Randle.
Right.
Then you trade for a younger guy, or you make that move, like Freezie said, that if we somehow get like the top 4 pick, you trade that pick and an asset for Donovan Mitchell, and then you move the timeline way ahead.
Right.
And then the question is if you're going to be able to win with these guys, because if not, that move might look, really bad in the future, because you're going to get strapped, because RJ's contract going to kick in. Donovan Mitchell's contract, it ain't that bad, like Ray said, before that. It ends like in 2026 with $37 million. If we think about it, that new TV deal is going to kick in, salary cap might, bump to 170 or something like that. That contract might look like a rotation guy contract, like a starting player contract, but it's not going to be like 65 million for one dude, right? So that might be something. The question is, if you trade for Donovan Mitchell, is Utah just going to take Alec Burks and, for example, Julius Randle and like 2 picks? Or are they going to want, Quentin Grimes, IQ, and they're going to like...
And more picks.
And more picks that they're just going to literally carve up your bench and your future. Because if that's the case, then I don't think if you're doing, that step of a forward step and not thinking about taking those 2-3 steps back, right? So it all depends what you've envisioned. And, if you can listen, one thing is sure, we ain't gonna draft all the draft picks that we have in the next couple of seasons.
Absolutely.
We gotta listen. There's no way that we can sign them to the roster. Like, we can't have like 24 players. So
no, we can't. We can't.
That is so true. And that's a good point, Andy, you making, because think about it. I know a lot of them, we don't want to give up these draft picks. We don't do that. But they're getting draft picks to move stuff around. And just like you were saying, does it make sense to if Utah, because Utah's going to be in a situation, they're trying to go, if they're going to give up Donovan Mitchell, they're going to try to get everything. They're trying to get socks, drawers, kitchen sink, all that, man. And, a lot of times you hear, well, it's like making it's like the Melo trade all over again. I would think if you fall into that and you giving up as many, like you brought in those extra players, like you were saying in picks, that'd be worse than the Melo trade if they were to do that. But my thing again, it goes back to desperation. This season,
but the whole thing, it's not like the Knicks fans say that because it's something comparable. But in my opinion, saying that is kind of lazy.
Well,
right?
And I feel you on that
because the Melo trade, for one, you did not have a surplus of draft picks at the time.
Yeah,
right.
The other thing about it, Freeze, with the Melo trade was the trade wouldn't have been bad if they would have given him the help that he needed. It was just that it was on the back end and didn't give the players in that he needed. You gave up, but didn't replenish. So that would made it look so bad.
But so the Melo trade itself is its own thing in its own time frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right now, you have a saying going around that you couldn't say back then. You have a young core, right?
Definitely.
You have a surplus of draft picks. You have movable contracts, right?
Mm-hmm.
During the Melo era, you knew Raymond Felton wasn't your point guard of the future. He was just playing good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't your center.
Yeah. You didn't. Mozgov wasn't the center of the future because when we got Mozgov, we were actually negotiating between him and Amir Ashik, and Amir Ashik chose to go to the Bulls. That's how we got Mozgov.
You went with it. You couldn't get the girl you want, so you got the girl you with.
right. So people forget about these small details. Wilson Chandler wasn't consistent all around
And
player
he was
then.
and Freezie, he was an expiring contract, and we didn't have money to resign him, so he was gone that off season. No matter what.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the Melo trade, because we gave up numerous assets, doesn't mean that those assets had the same value as the guys that we have today.
No.
The assets that we have today, in my opinion, are more valuable. Like, for instance, Quentin Grimes is more valuable than Raymond Felton.
Oh, Quentin Grimes is more valuable than Gallinari.
Right. No disrespect. No disrespect to Ray. Right. No disrespect to Ray. But Ray was coming off of not being re-signed on his rookie contract by Charlotte. Remember?
Yep.
When we got Ray, he was a 5th-year player because Charlotte didn't re-sign him, right? Like how we did Frank, right?
Right.
And so when we say, it's just like the Melo trade all over, no, it's not. It's the complete opposite. Now we have young, attractive pieces, right? Because no disrespect to Gallinari, but I do think we probably like RJ Barrett right now better than we liked Gallinari at that time.
Oh, without a doubt.
And a lot of us love Gallinari. I like Gallinari.
I did like the Rooster, but when you look at the pieces we got, and what I mean, and let me clarify a little more on what I'm saying on that. If we were to give up all these young assets and pieces, because look at the young cats we got on the squad now, they can actually contribute. They could be game changers for a Utah if we would upload, give up a lot of them to go in. Okay. It'd be an upload. It'll be an upgrade because what you just done, you're giving them some solid role players, right. And maybe in a draft or all these picks they get, if it was a 5th, we all be full. But you strike and get that right, that unbeknown superstar again or whatever. You got pieces that you can maybe go forward with. I'm like, it's the desperation thing. That's and I've been saying that a lot. I know, but and the reason I'm saying the desperation is because we overachieved last season to fall on our face this season. Leon Rose is feeling that heat and that pressure from Knicks Nation, right? And you don't want them to go out there and make a knee-jerk move to say, "Hey, look," because we truth be told, he actually did that low key with Kemba Walker. Okay. To compensate the Evan Fournier, because like Evan Fournier is our top free agent. Ooh, all right. But then we needed a point guard. So, well, here's Kemba Walker, got a point guard. He's from the city. Blah blah blah. Put him out there, and it just didn't work. Right. So I don't want desperation to come back on us.
I just want to say just for clarity, right? Just for clarity's sake, the Melo trade is not like a trade of a star today because when you think back to the Melo trade, right? Who on the Knicks roster, right? At the time Melo we were looking to trade for Melo. What great veterans did we have on the roster at that time?
Nobody.
Was there a Derrick Rose on the roster?
Oh God, no.
Was there a Alec Burks or Evan Fournier on the roster? No, right? So when Knicks fans say it'll just be like the Melo trade all over again, you can't just say because you trade a bunch of assets for one player that they're similar, because they're not. Because what you have to do is look at the value of the pieces that are going to be exchanged in the deal, right? Mm-hmm. Because say the target is not Donovan Mitchell. Say the target is Zion or Bradley Beal or Jaylen Brown or whoever, right? Regardless who the player is that we trade for, we can include guys like Derrick Rose, Evan Fournier, Alec Burks, and young pieces and draft picks if it's necessary. That's what I'm getting at. I don't think they're the same. I think they're different. Just because you do a 7-for-1 or a 6-for-1 doesn't mean they're exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you got a high piece, I mean, Melo's a Hall of Fame player. This is on the back end of that, the organization, the people, the powers that be didn't give him the help that they should have gotten him. And that's what makes that trade, when you say the Melo trade, makes it look so bad. Because you did get the players to support him as it should have.
Yeah, and Sophie, can just to add on that. Listen, after that trade, the next season was still a little bit shaky, but
Hmm.
after that we had the 54-win season,
And that was the
and
best time.
and then we screwed up because
Hmm.
then we made the wrong moves. We made the Bargiani move, and
Oh God,
the rest of them
Jesus.
moves.
Thank
So
you.
that was what screwed up the Knicks, and that's why fans go back to the Melo trade and say like, "Oh, listen, we traded 4 rotation players for Melo. We got Chauncey Billups. That was our starting point guard in
Yeah.
that deal, also.
Right.
And then they made the bonehead and let him go. And like you
Yeah,
said, that whole Bargnani thing was just disgusting because
yeah,
the cat didn't do anything when he was in Toronto, and you gave up all that for what?
yeah.
14? Was it
You know
12,
who
Picks.
14
Bargnani?
points a
You know who
game?
Bargnani's agent was, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Leon Rose. And
The
this
Knicks.
is
The
this is
Knicks were
this is
trying to get Greg Monroe from the Pistons,
yeah.
right? And Leon Rose said he didn't want his client Greg Monroe to go to New York. But how about this other guy, my other client in Toronto, Andrea Bargnani?
And you know what's crazy about that is you had a man that's been stealing from you all this time, just straight robbing you, and then you turn around and hire the stick up kid. That's if that's not irony, I don't know what is, man. This
It's
cat
it's
been
it's 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 like that movie Catch Me If You Can, the
yeah,
Tom Hanks and Leonardo
and
DiCaprio movie.
yes it is, yes it is.
I don't think the Melo trade was. I know there's some in the fan base that always refer to it as, "Oh man, the Melo trade is so bad." But I always look at the avenue of trading to what is the ceiling of what you're getting, and getting Melo at that specific time, who was, I mean, unquestionably a top five. You could even move him up. He's a top five player in the entire league. At that specific point in the season, I was okay with it because I'm now asking myself, well, what was the ceiling for Gallinari, for Timothy Mozgov, and for Raymond Felton, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
So I never
Moscow got a big contract and didn't do nothing.
Right.
it was the following season with that Andrea Bargnini trade that really makes the Melo trade look really crazy because it's Andre Bargnini. Like, I mean, it's Andre Bargnini. Enough said. What is, and that's how I look at it. So if we're going to make a move for Donovan Mitchell, now I'm not going out of my way to kick down walls and all this stuff, saying, hey, I gotta have Donovan Mitchell. I still gotta ask myself the question: well, what is the ceiling for Donovan Mitchell? Is he going to become a superstar by the end of his contract, where he'll be 28, 29 years old? That I'll sign up for. Same thing with Melo. Like, he's a top 75 player, a Hall of Famer. Like, I was absolutely okay making that trade for Melo. It's just everything else that came after it. And so same thing with Donovan Mitchell. If we do that, what comes after that? In terms of supporting cast, in terms of bench players and all it. And this is where the assets, we have 17 second round picks. You can fill out depth. But if you add an impact player like a Donovan Mitchell, that does change some things. My only hesitation with it going all the way, through the door is I still got questions about my foundational core. I don't know who's what is it? Is it RJ, Obi, and IQ? Is it RJ and Obi? Is it RJ, Obi, and Cam? Is it Zion? Like, I'm still trying to figure that piece of the puzzle out. And I don't want to get into a space where we just jump the gun and we're out here just trading, yes, to Uncle Freezie's point, making the aggressive moves, because that's what ultimately wins in this league. You gotta pay to play. Yeah, I'm just scared jumping the gun, making that move, and it's like, okay, so what's the next one? Because in a loaded Eastern Conference, Donovan Mitchell, it won't be enough. And how far does that get you? Which is those are the reasons why I have some hesitation towards just, we got to go out and get Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. Right. Andy, you want to jump in and chime in on this? You got a feeling about that?
Listen, for me, a Donovan Mitchell move, for if I'm the Jazz, I'm asking for Julius Randle or RJ, right? And as the Knicks front office, I think if you ain't like thinking about all three of those guys playing together, that's not moving you that much of ahead. So the deal would have to be based around Fournier and like tons of picks, because I don't think you can like throw in the whole young bench that the Knicks have. Because if you throw in quickly Grimes and Obi there with Fournier just to make the deal work, I don't think you can rely on the picks from the next season's draft to play bench guys to all to the starting lineup that you're gonna have. That would be literally so big of a gamble that at this point I don't think you can take that, because after that season, if you ain't gonna make like the top 3-4 seed, Leon Rose is gonna get fired. So
Right.
I don't think he rather play it safe, not overpay, just stick around close to the play-ins, close to the playoffs, and wait for that move that's really gonna put you over the top. And I think that might be the way to roll. I just at least want to be in the playoffs, because these lottery weeks, months. I ain't that old, but I'm getting older really fast.
Right.
We all
Hey,
are.
how do you feel about the Memphis Grizzlies approach?
Yeah,
That's for
Freezie. Yo, but listen, I think the Grizzlies, even if they keep it up next season, they're gonna, finally those young guys are gonna go into those contract years and they will want to get paid, right? And I think, just building a team with several young guys at one point, it's gonna be like there's not enough money for all these guys.
Right.
So they're gonna have to make moves, and they're probably gonna go backwards, like couple of seeds. They're gonna probably hope that they don't fall out of the playoffs, but they're gonna have to take or cheaper vets or cheaper young players, and that's not going to be the same that they have really not right now, because they really clicked with this roster. They perfectly clicked, and I don't think that's sustainable through like 4 or 5 more years. I think 2 more years even, but then a guy like Ja is going to get that extension. A guy like Triple J is going to get that extension, and there's going to be literally no money left on the table for
because
a
John's
guy
gonna
like
get a max.
yeah
My bad. He's gonna get a max.
and there's not going to be money left for the bench guys. And the bench guys like, listen, I play a good role here, I average like 12 points, I'm going to go to the Pistons, take like 15 million then, because the Grizzlies can offer me like 5.5 million. And there's going to be several players on that roster from the Grizzlies that going to be in that situation. And believe me, I don't think most of those guys are going to play for the for the bigger good or whatever you call it. They ain't ideologically players. They're going to go for the money.
Right. You mean what happened to the Washington Wizards?
Yeah.
Right. You remember
exactly.
the Washington Wizards had John Wall, young, Bradley Beal, young, Otto Porter, Kelly Oubre was young. And once those guys got into their contract years, then you saw guys leaving, and you have to backfill with dudes like Martin Gortat, who I always thought was a good player. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But you start backfilling with value contracts as opposed to upside contracts. So I understand what you mean. And look at it. What's up, Stafford? What's good?
What up, bro?
What up, Stafford?
What's up, Stafford? You got them peas?
Man, I got it, bruv. Oh yeah, bruv. But Andy, I want to ask you a question. Pertaining to the Grizzlies, right? And John is max contract. I'm here thinking, right? If Ja wants to be more in the playoffs, would you think he will more take not a team-friendly contract, but a friendly contract where it will be enough to at least bring back some of the bench players? You think that's possible?
Personally, I think Ja is going to take all the money he's going to be able to take, and that's what why. For one, it's a small market team, so he can't think that there's going to be guys like almost retired guys like Carmelo and Gary Payton that went to the Lakers. His franchise isn't look like that. That he's going to get vets that will be willing to take the vets minimum just to come to him and play with him. So he's at the stage of his career that he didn't get that much money because the rookie scale contract for his skill set around the NBA is still nothing. He plays reckless basketball, so he can, be injured like D Rose, and then he ain't gonna get that money. So the first extension, he's gonna take the max. After that, if I would cash in like 200 million, I might think about it. But the first extension, he's taking them as much as possible, and for the Grizzlies and for Memphis, he's going to take the full max, whatever it takes, and the Grizzlies are going to pay him that, and that's not even going to be a question.
Right.
And they should pay him that much.
Yeah.
Again, small market team, he is a draw. He's a draw for the owner and the profit margins and all that, because we got to remember that this is still an entertainment business first.
Yeah, and listen, and because there was a stat that if Ja wasn't playing, the team was still like 11-2 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, if they go into the next season without Ja, that team ain't making the playoffs, no way. So
yeah, it was a whole different thing. Yeah, it's a whole different animal, because now they definitely got film on whoever they look at to take over as the lead dog. And they, those young pieces, and like you said, Ja and Triple J gonna get money. They're gonna get paid. So the other's gonna be like, yo, I want my dough. So if you can't get me my scratch, I'm gonna agitate the pavement and go somewhere else.
Yeah, and not to mention Dylan Brooks, which I loved as a player. He got already the money, but he's so injury prone.
Yes. Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
Man,
availability is the best ability, man.
Yeah, listen, I love to have him on the Knicks, but if he's gonna play like 30 games, man, I pass on him.
Yeah, I mean, we already got somebody like that. That was Nerlens Noel this season for us, man.
Yeah.
Cam is sort of teetering on that injury prone line as well, and to me, he's the biggest X factor for this team moving forward into next season. If he takes a leap, or he takes a jump, we may arguably have a top 5 wing tandem in the league within the next 2 years with RJ and Cam, if Cam can put it together. And I think he can, because he has all the physical profile and abilities to do so.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm I know Uncle Freezie, you posted and whatnot. I'm so caught between the idea of being aggressive, because you have provided that line of thought. Like, I now got to think twice about what is it that I ultimately want to see. Do I want to see a championship contender in 2028, or do I want to see it in 2052? I'm probably the youngest on this panel. I'm 34 years old. So
yeah, you are.
Right. And so the thing is, I think we are taking the Harvey Two-Face approach to championship building. On the one hand, we are saying, let's rebuild organically, right? And be patient in a rebuild, right? And then at the same time, we understand that the Eastern Conference itself is loaded with young guys that have a head start. Like Atlanta legit has a young point guard that looks like he's going to be a Hall of Famer if he continues on this path, right? That's only Atlanta, right? Now, Charlotte just got a point guard that looks like he's going to be a multiple-time All-Star.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They just let go their coach, just to plug that in.
Right.
What?
Right.
Charlotte.
Wow.
They fired him.
Yeah, they fired him.
Right. And so,
sorry, Uncle Freeze.
No doubt. And so the Celtics have 2 guys that are 26 and under, and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Right? The Sixers have Joel Embiid. Right? And so if we wait for 10 years for them guys to get old, who's to say other teams won't acquire young stars also? So I'm not saying that the wait and see approach is not an approach that we should take. What I'm saying is just think about the consequences of the wait and see approach. You feel me? That's what I'm getting at. Like think about these concepts from every angle. Let's think this thing through. Are we gonna be while I'm not saying that we should try to trade for LeBron or something crazy like that. What I'm saying is small aggressive steps. Like if you're in the draft, you're picking 12, the guy you want is at 5, then trade up to 5 and get him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And
so
just that approach. Okay.
Yeah, so I got a question for you, Uncle Freezie. Would Donovan Mitchell be a small aggressive move for you?
I think Donovan Mitchell is a major aggressive move.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of a small aggressive move in your opinion? What would you think would equate to a small, so I get a better
A
understanding?
Jalen Brunson move.
Right.
Yeah.
You took the words right out my mouth, Andy.
A move that steadies the ship. Jalen Brunson steadies the ship, right? So he's not going to be a megastar. You don't want Jalen Brunson on all your posters saying that he's a franchise player, because he's not a franchise player, right? He's not. He's not. He would be. Would be the equivalent of just signing a rock steady guy at a position until you find a guy that can put Jalen Brunson back into a more natural role, right? Like for instance, if you sign Jalen Brunson and you mess around and draft Jaden Ivey, you could bring your Jaden Ivey off the bench until he's ready to play whatever guard, however he wants to play, whatever it is. So you don't have to force Ivey into the lineup if you have Brunson.
Yeah, you won't look at Ivey as the savior.
Yeah, you're like, we're just gonna bring this guy along, let him learn point guard behind Brunson until this guy is undeniable off the bench, and then you have to flip-flop roles. Right? That's just stuff like that is what I'm getting at. Notice that's two aggressive moves. You go out and get Brunson, you trade up in the draft to get Ivy, and now you at least have solidified for the time being a glaring hole that you've had for 20 or 30 years.
But don't we have that sort of problem that exists with IQ right now? A big question mark at a position where we're trying to figure out, what's his ceiling and playing the point guard position.
I believe in IQ.
I believe in IQ.
I don't.
Right.
Andy, come on, man. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You jump on the board, man.
So let me just say this about IQ just real quick, and I'll get out of the way. I think it's harder for young point guards to play and develop as point guards in this league when you have ball hogs like Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. They're not allowed to become the floor general because you got one guy like Tibbs is calling Cadillac from the side. Randle is at the top of the key. No, give me the rock. I'm good. Hey, give me the rock. He ain't gonna run the play. He demanding the ball.
Could I say this before you go? Radiology.
Yeah, sure.
I was talking about Randle. What's happening?
Oh, you're talking about Randle.
I'm sorry, I was mocking Tibbs.
Hey, Ray, your camera got cloudy too. What's going on with your camera?
The sun.
I don't know. It looked like some smoke up in there.
Listen,
there it is.
But Freezie, I was thinking about this, and somebody meant, I think it was Queen, right? And she said that IQ is ball dominant, RJ is ball dominant, Randall is ball dominant. So you think if Tibbs was to put IQ in that starting lineup, you don't think that he will more likely have to defer to those two guys instead of him doing actually being IQ?
I don't think IQ has that kind of mentality that he would defer, because we've seen him before on the court telling, hey, he's told Randall, get back, go over here. He's told RJ the same. So it would be
All right.
the problem. The first order of business, you got to open it up for them. You know, you got Kimba and D Rose got to go, man. And
So
I
so
would,
let me ask you this. So by you saying that, so why you think Tibbs never put IQ in the starting lineup for the
because
past?
he got his blanket. And his blanket, you know, when D Rose went down, his blanket is Alex Burks.
Yeah, but
That's what the thing.
if we saying me, you, Freezie, radiology say now we trust and we put in this trust in IQ, basically giving him the keys to the Ferrari. Why did not Tibbs put him in the lineup the past 5 to 6 games instead of Alex Burks?
Because like I said, Tibbs is stuck in his way. He's going with the veteran that he loves the most. He said he gives us the best chance, but his office is it was proven that he's not giving us the best chance to win. He rolling with Alex Burks. You gotta Tibbs is a victim. Sometimes Tibbs gets in his own way. You know what I'm saying? And he was riding Burks. Look, I like Burks. Burks is a Swiss Army knife. Can Burks play a little point for amount of time? But you look, Ron got on the show before. Shout out to Ron Cleveland, man. And he said it. If we're gonna depend on Burks to be our point guard for the rest of the season, we are in trouble.
But here's the thing, Soul thing I wanted to point out to both of y'all. The thing is this that I want to point out. If Julius Randle plays the same way he played last year, and RJ Barrett plays the same way that he played last year, even if you bring in Jalen Brunson, guess what's going to happen?
We're in trouble. It's going to be it's like the Dijon Drums all around the world, same song. It's going to be a bad season.
Right, and it's the same thing that happened with, and I'm not saying Elfrid Payton was a great point guard, right? But towards the end of the season last year, Elfrid Payton was like, it don't matter what we call from the sidelines. It's the reason why he was disgruntled and ready to leave, because no matter what you call, you have two dudes, right, that are inefficient scorers that want to put up a lot of shots.
Yeah, and let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then, Freeze. Situations like this, when you have players like that, don't you think the coach needs to step in and circumvent a lot of that? The coach should take charge of that and point out to him.
Yeah, but Sophie, even when you brought in Kemba Walker, who up to that point had a better career than RJ Barrett and Julius Randle put together. Yeah. Even when you bring in a Evan Fournier, who had a great career up until this year, and still had a decent year.
I mean, he had a decent year. We just saw his defense what it was.
But the thing is when you bring in guys and you have two dudes that are ball hogs, it don't matter. It don't matter who you bring in. It's like what Chauncey Billups said about Carmelo Anthony in Denver. He was like, he don't question Melo as a man. He don't question Melo's passion. He just questioned if Melo would rather win a game or score 30 points.
Yeah. But see, now it's coming to the player. Now, the other thing is these guys got to look in the mirror and, like I said, ask that question. Do I want to look at my stats or do I want to win?
And Soulfing, I'm going to just say this, and I promise I'm going to get out of your way. This is directed to Andy. Andy, guess what? When the Knicks asked, when the media asked RJ Barrett what was his goal for the season, guess what RJ Barrett said? I want to average 20 points a game. He did not say, I want to make the playoffs.
I think I can expect that.
Yo, Freezie, I can tell you who would rather go to the playoffs than score 20 points, than score 10 points even. My boy Frankie.
Frank, damn right. You damn right.
Yeah, but Freezie, just going back to Freezie, just going back to your point about the point guard, right? I think it's exactly like you said. If this is gonna be the offense, which means the playmakers, the main playmakers is gonna be Julius Randle or RJ Barrett, and I'm saying or because it might shift next season. Mm-hmm. But still the point guard duty is going to be just to dribble the ball up the court, pass and run to the corner like Alfred Payton did, I'd rather have Alfred Payton, which requires like what, 5.5 million, can shoot, won't his ego won't be stroked the wrong way because he ain't gonna be looking for that points. Meanwhile, we saw the situation with Kemba. I bet you guys that Kemba was, listen, I'm a former all-star player, and you're just gonna use me like that?
Mhm.
I didn't come from here, to the Knicks, to my hometown, to play in the dream city, dream team, just to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why the rift happened. And I think Kemba might have made the move, the move on Tibbs and on maybe even on Randall or whatever on the offense system a little bit too soon. If he waited till like the half season and that, it didn't look good, and then he made the argument, it might have panned out totally different. But he made the move too soon. He didn't have, probably the locker room on him, the coaching staff, the rest of the assistant coaches on his side.
Right.
And he was gambling too much probably on that. I'm gonna be the guy now and stuff like that.
Right.
And listen about bringing in another point guard for the next season. My only thing with bringing, because my probably dream point guard would be Jalen Brunson. But listen, we see him playing on the Mavs, and he can play off the ball, which means he can dribble up the ball, pass up the ball, and then when he gets the ball in the corner, he can shoot, he can create from there, whatever, right? Meanwhile, he won't be that guy that's gonna ask for the ball to create for himself.
Right.
And that's the difference between he and Kemba. That's the difference between he and whoever you bring as a point guard that's going to be ball dominant and trying to be the main playmaker. Because I don't think neither RJ or Julius are going to be happy with a guy that's going to come in
And he
and play
ball
floor
dominant.
general, and that the point guard is going to decide, I'm going to pass you the ball now and not, in the future or whatever, right, on the next
Right.
possession. That's going to be the problem. So, for example, a guy like, and I would love a guy like Ricky Rubio, like Malcolm Brogdon, if he would be healthy, right?
Right.
Floor general, old school point guard, directs the whole offense. But I don't think that's going to work with Julius, and the second guy is going to be RJ.
RJ. Yep.
Andy, I gotta push back on Brogdon. Bro, he only played 75 games
Yeah,
in his
that's why
rookie season, and
yeah,
he's
that
been injured ever
Tafa.
since. He only played
Yeah.
40 games. I think it's only 40 games, or he missed 40 games this year. So
that's what stuff I
that's something
said.
that.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm not with it. I'm not. I said that if he would be healthy, that's just the prototype point guard I want. A floor general
Right.
that's going to
Okay.
be
Okay.
respected. But if he's
Right.
injury prone like that, I ain't taking it for him. I ain't. Maybe for example, if the Knicks can do a Donovan Mitchell trade, they can do a Jalen Brunson trade, right? You might have to gamble. And just for like spare, for example, Mitch ain't gonna stay because he wants more money, right? So
Yeah.
you do a sign and trade with the Pacers. You take off Brogdon and Miles Turner. That's a and you, for example, add Alec Burks, because Alec Burks is the guy, and I'm not having anything against him, but if we don't trade Alec Burks, Tibbs is gonna use him still out of position, and that's gonna mess up the whole progress of the Quentin Grimes, the Cam Reddishes, and stuff like that, because he's gonna get minutes over those guys.
That's
And
the
that's
line
the
of
thing.
situation.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's
but
the thing
Andy,
that I'm afraid of.
you're giving us two injury-prone players. Turner with a plantar fasciitis hasn't played since I don't know how many games,
February.
and then
Yeah.
and then you talking about Brogdon, two of them. I mean, give me
Stafford,
one, but two.
Yeah, but Stafford, I'm just saying. But if you're gonna lose Mitch for nothing, I'd rather have Turner
Yeah,
instead of Netherlands Noel.
yeah, but both of them coming off 2 foot injuries, the same as Mitch. I'd rather keep Mitch then.
Yo, but Stafford, I think
But
still,
you don't have but you don't have a choice in the Mitch thing.
Yeah, you don't.
The Mitch thing.
You
If you're
had
gonna
you
lose him
had
for nothing,
yeah.
because Mitch is gonna want Mitch want his paper. I agree with him.
No, but Soulfinger, I ain't saying that Turner or Brogdon is not a talent, but it's just
I was talking about point
the
guard.
injury the factor I'm looking at, because our Knicks normally have this thing of taking injured players and trying to rebuild them, and I'm trying to avoid that.
But
We've been going through this part for the longest.
Yeah, but Staffa, you know what was the good thing about this? If they get injured, you gotta Deuce McBride that can get minutes and develop. You got a young center and Jericho Sims. You know, you
but
got
Andy,
minutes
why
for those guys?
But why trade for a 20-something-year-old he's 29, and then his contract is more than 20 million, and then I hardly getting any type of play out of it. Now I gotta go to McBride. So what was the sense for even trading for him for?
So what, you're gonna lose Mitch for nothing? Because I bet you.
I'm not saying. I think. No, but I think we could get a better sign and trade deal than Brogdon and what's his face.
If you
give me a better deal, then after we could probably negotiate. But I can't negotiate for Miles Turner and Brogdon when they're injury prone.
Stop it down. Name that player. Name it.
Yeah.
Name that player that's on an expiring contract and want to come in. All right.
He ain't out there. I tell you that. If you say expiring contract and want to come, it's gonna be maybe one that want to come, but it's not on an expiring contract, and you're gonna have to give up a lot. But also, this is something
I'll take. Hold on, Soulfinger. I will go to Detroit and give me what's his name? The young center.
Kelly Olynyk. You ain't getting anything else than Kelly Olynyk from the Pistons.
No, what's his name? The other center, the other young boy. Not Bagley. The other one. Isaiah Stewart. Give me him and probably give me the bus point guard. Probably see if I could work with him.
Killian Hayes.
Killian Hayes. Yeah.
But Staffa, those are 2 first-round picks. They ain't trading. Even if Stewart wasn't. Yeah, even if Stewart isn't a first-round pick, they ain't trading those 2 guys for your bums basically. Or guys
hold up. But I'm saying they've been throwing a bag at Mitch. So why wouldn't we do a signing trade and get both of them when Detroit wants Mitch?
I don't think they're going to trade. Throw a bag at Mitch because they got Bagley now. If they didn't do that Bagley move,
no. But is Bagley playing center or is he playing power forward?
Yeah,
he plays both. He's playing center, but he's versatile because you can put him at the 4 and the 5, and he's less money.
And they still have Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah, they got Beef Stew still.
Okay.
But can I say one thing? The funny thing is, y'all conversation before y'all dabble into everybody else, y'all was talking about the point guard position, and y'all was saying how the team deferred or with Randall as far as somebody taking over of the team as being a point guard. And that happened when Kemba came here. And didn't Julius Randle deferred from his playing? Remember last season he was the things done changed when somebody else came here as far as the point guard. He didn't succeed, but that was your original conversations. Y'all went everywhere else. I'm sorry, Uncle Freezie, but we was talking about the point guard situation.
I'm lost though.
Yeah.
So the thing is, what we were getting at is regardless of who you get at point guard, if you don't allow that point guard to play the point guard position, you're still going to have a void at point guard. It don't matter if you put John Stockton there. If you don't let Stockton run the pick and roll, if Randall's going to take ISOs at the top of the key, you still have a point guard problem. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, and listen, putting IQ at the starting point guard position and just making him bring up the ball, pass it up, and go to the corner ain't going to work as well. And his stats are going to be way worse, and he's going to look like a bum compared to what he's looking now.
and then
I think
everybody's gonna be ready to crucify him even more. So it's got to come to certain players got to move, and then like I said, you got to make Tibbs give up his whoopee. Period. You got to give up that Linus blanket, man. That's the only. If you're gonna hold on to him, you got to get rid of his blanket.
I think IQ presents a threat at the position. I don't see a whole lot of guys who can do sort of the two-way things that he does in terms of guarding and being a threat to, on the offense, or at least getting to the free throw line and converting. I'm okay standing pat and holding on to IQ and figuring out in year 3 what IQ actually is, because he's also ahead of the curve. And for whatever you call Tibbs' offense, whatever it is, he understands it better than anybody you bring in. And second point, and I'll give it to y'all. I don't know if I'm willing to disturb the locker room with bringing in a guy like Jalen Brunson, who obviously has all these connections and everything, and guys looking at IQ going, nah, this works better with IQ. I understand the talent. I understand that Jalen Brunson has upped his value, but I like the continuity and the prospect of whatever IQ ceiling is, because you can't deny when he's on the floor, he's a threat. And it's more than just bringing up the ball. He understands Tibbs' scheme in order to set up Tibbs' scheme the way it needs to be set up. So I'm trusting IQ a little bit more than I'm trusting Jalen Brunson. Although Jalen Brunson is the better talent,
right?
I don't think
at the moment.
Right? I don't think that Jalen Brunson's talent is like, drastically better than IQ. I just don't. I don't see it. It's kind of like if I bring IQ in, teams got to pay attention. Teams got to, knuckle up on defense. They got to come with it, because IQ has an attitude about him where he's bringing it.
Yes, and he's been there, done that.
Let me interject this to you. Because somebody DM'd me on Twitter and told me this, and I laughed when I first read it, and I didn't know if I was going to say it on a show or not. I was thinking about saying it later on in the week, next week, on the Knicks Morning Drive, but I'll say it here. It's Friday night, man. We chilling, right?
I'm chilling.
Oh, I'm sorry. It might be Saturday morning for some people. It might be Saturday morning for some people.
Saturday morning for some.
But here's the thing. A fan that watches the show, they don't like being in the chat. We get a lot of viewers. Everybody don't comment in the comment section or jump on the panel. So shout out to those that watch and just support, right? So somebody said, hey, man, did y'all ever consider the fact that Jalen Brunson could be the Knicks' Kyle Lowry at 26? Like a guy that came in and flew under the radar, had to find his way, and now he is evolving into a guy that's going to have a Kyle Lowry type impact on a team that is ready to make that next step into the playoffs. Because the example was, nobody remembers the Toronto Raptors of DeMar DeRozan, Sonny Weems, and Anthony Parker. But what they do remember is the Toronto Raptors getting Kyle Lowry from Houston and the Kyle Lowry DeMar DeRozan backcourt.
And Kyle Lowry used to be in Philly too before. Right.
No, he was in Memphis before. He was in Memphis,
yeah,
and then Toronto, and then I mean, I'm sorry, Memphis, Houston, and then Toronto.
Then Toronto. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think about that? Do you think Jalen Brunson is a guy that's gonna provide, or that can provide, that Kyle Lowry type impact? A guy that's a late bloomer, so to speak. That goes to a team and helps them get over the hump by just being rock solid. And for the record, the other example, the other lineage, both played point guard at Villanova.
And the funny thing is, because you think the Mavs gonna see that and they're gonna hold on to him now just because you think they're gonna let him go.
They can't do it though.
Because the rookie contract is up. Okay.
Yeah, but Freezie, I'm just gonna add about the Villanova thing. Do you guys know which Nick did he play at Villanova with?
Let me guess.
Mm.
Are you talking about Jalen Brunson, or Kyle
Yeah.
Lowry?
No, Jalen Brunson.
Archie Diacono.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, why do the Knicks resign this guy like the 50, the 10-day contract? And I was like, this guy ain't even getting burned.
Right.
Because it's the Knicks.
Right.
Yeah.
And they
I was like,
actually cut him. They cut him when they executed the Cam Reddish trade because they had to take on Solomon Hill's contract, and then they waived Solomon Hill, and then they re-signed Archie. Yeah.
I was like, oh man.
It's the New York Knicks.
They acted like they didn't have the cell number for Jalen Brunson.
Right. Right. So Ray, I know that's a different poker in the fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to add different things to the conversation because we could talk about Tom Thibodeau bad rotations. We could talk about Tom Thibodeau. I mean, Julius Randle body language.
Yeah.
We could talk about R.J. Barrett inefficiency until the cows come home.
Yeah.
But what I like to do is add other stuff to the conversation to get us thinking on a broader scale to see how other outside factors may impact us going down the road. And so with that said, I'm bringing up the Jalen Brunson to Kyle Lowry thing to see if there is some legs to this. Do you think there are some legs to this? What's up, J Boogie?
I'm good. Just jumped on it. Say what up to my guy Eddie. That's my brother right there.
Happy birthday, J Boog.
I appreciate it. And just
Big
tap in.
strong.
I'm about to get ready to ride into an area where I'm probably gonna fade out. So if I do, pardon me. I see Jalen Brunson doing a lot of things over there in Dallas right now in the playoffs, especially with them winning game 3 on the road and him being highlighted as the catalyst for it because he's up for free agency. I don't want Brunson on his team unless I got Donovan. I got to go that order. If I'm getting Donovan, then yeah, if I can make a way to get Brunson, that's good. I can't go get Brunson just because I need a point guard and wind up giving 56 to 60 million in my backcourt with him and RJ. I just can't do that. The numbers just to me don't add up right. You know what I'm saying? It just don't add up right. As far as me thinking that backcourt gonna take up all my money space, they're gonna lead me to a chip. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather just, if I can't get Donovan to go with Brunson, I'd rather just stick to the script and just keep IQ in place. Because I do believe that IQ is going to come back as a whole different person. And
Yep.
I do believe that his demeanor, his attitude to what's getting ready to happen is going to be totally different. I think he's going to walk right into our practice talking straight smash. And that's what we need. IQ know this is his time. This is his turn. He's the reason that it wasn't because of the Obi Toppin song. IQ is the real reason that unlocked Obi. So that's a tandem. So we really getting 2 players in 1 player.
The Obi Toppin song is fire though.
I appreciate that, but IQ is unlocked Obi, and I just got a feeling about IQ, man. I said his first year they give him the keys. I started with the give him the keys situation. I started to come out with shirts. You know what I'm saying? But I just gotta wait and see, man. I gotta wait and see what these guys are gonna do in this office, man. I don't know about these guys, man. I don't see. I'm used to the failure of the relationship thing. You've been failing in relationships with us. This was a relationship. Everything we do is relationship. Because that's my people, my cousin, my son-in-law. You know what I'm saying? All that is failure. No, give me some real ball players.
No, Jay Boogie. Yo, Jay Boog, listen, Jay Boog. Did you missed when they broke down everything on how Leon Rose and them they done but munched us from since the Melo trade. That was Leon Rose, and they running the front office now. They've been munching and eating off of the Knicks. the front office that we have in place right now. That's what they was talking about too earlier.
So Andy, back to IQ, right? Give me your personal reasons why you think IQ cannot hold a fort down as a starting point guard for the Knicks next year.
Yo, he's still a young.
I'm just
freshman.
curious.
He's a freshman.
I'm just
bro.
curious.
He's still young, bro.
Listen,
I don't even know why the fans
I
is like
understand
that.
that he's young. For me, just looking at his game, he needs the ball in his hands to be effective. So under this Tibbs' offense, he ain't getting that chance unless he's coming off the bench. The other two factors is I rather have a point guard being a floor general, and IQ with the bad decision making that he's not, ending his dribble. He's, he got some kind of whack decisions, and the shot selection that ain't cutting it for me.
Do you think it will improve?
It can, but listen, what it was 3 years he's in now, and
IQ 3 years.
Yeah, it's gonna be his third
Yeah,
year,
IQ
right?
been in the league 3 years, man.
Yeah,
3
2
years.
years.
But Andy,
Going into the third year.
the last 5 games he's been averaging 15 plus points. His decision has gotten better. His shot selection, you're right. His shot selection got a little better. He even stated in his press conference that he's looking at a lot of film to make better decisions and when to take his spots and when is his spot. So by him saying that, you don't see, and in the last 5 games, you don't see any type of increment of improvement that he could be the starting point guard.
Mustafa, I see the improvement. I see the potential there. But for one, we didn't play any of those games with Randall, and half of those games RJ didn't play. So that's, and I'm happy with him running the second unit. I'm cool with that. I'm really cool with that because I know that when he's the guy, when he feels that he has those young guys under his wings, they respect him and they work with him because he can, spread the ball his way. He doesn't even have to look at Tibbs, right? But when he's in the starting unit and he has a guy like RJ and a guy like Randall, he has to defer to them. If he tries to take over, I'm willing to say that Randall might, throw some punches in that locker room.
Right. Andy, and I love you, Andy, and but listen, when you say the young guys, they all young guys.
Listen,
besides Randall, he's 26.
Burks ain't
Wow,
young. Fournier ain't young.
26 is not young.
Yeah, he's young.
In the NBA, when you get to 30, they wanna count you off when you get to 30, right? I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I don't.
Right?
I don't
Don't
know.
front.
I
Don't
don't.
front.
29 is downhill. 29
Right.
is downhill.
Yeah, you see?
Well, what if? If that's down,
New York fans be just like that. Like, he's 26. Oh, he's finished. Like,
yeah, Nick. But New York fan, and I'm just gonna say this. This is a bold statement to New York Knicks fans. Yo, in the position we're in, we can't thumb our nose at talented NBA players.
That
right?
is so true.
At the position that we are in, we can't thumb our nose up at talented NBA players. Plus, at the position we're in, we cannot overvalue the players that we have on our roster just because they're ours.
Yeah, we need to be more realistic with
we
looking
want
at our
them
own
to
players.
be successful, but we also have to be honest with ourselves as Knicks fans.
We want Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. They lost.
Right. We're not going to be able to trade Jericho Sims for Kyrie Irving.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And so the other thing, just one third thing. This is the third thing to New York Knicks fans. And I am one of you. I am one of you. I am your brother, New York Knicks fans. Right. I am your brother. Right. We have to understand too that everybody on the roster is not going to be a superstar. You have to have role players.
Yes.
One of the reasons why I like Frank in a role, but not as a superstar. because what happened is every time Knicks fans was like, I think Frank could be 26-6. I was like, no, Frank Ntilikina is a 6'4" Tree Rollins.
And Freezie,
Okay.
can I add to that too? Can I add to that by saying that it's all about the jersey, the name on the front and not on the back, because any of these players can get traded.
Yo, Stopper, that's a big thing I talk about right now, Carl. It's always about that. It's about the
Yeah.
name and not the
Yeah, so you can't be really attached to any of this play, because as Freezie pointed earlier, or even Andy, we need, next thing we trade some of these assets to get a star player to come in here.
So when I'm talking about quality instead of quantity,
right. So that's just basically what it is, man.
Uncle Freezer, you asked me a question with regards to Kyle Lowry. If Jalen Brunson is going to be Kyle Lowry 2.0 or whatnot, then I'm okay with it. I think my hesitation with the idea of signing a Jalen Brunson is because I think that there are bigger options that are out there, maybe even possibly better options. If you're talking about someone like a Donovan Mitchell, obviously we don't know what that's going to be like just yet. But my thinking in all of this really does revolve in figuring out the foundational core, which is something that we have never demonstrated since 1985, getting a Patrick Ewing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ray.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good
Yes,
point.
sir.
Good point.
So, Finger, I agree with you too. Yes, sir. Yes.
That's just my thing. It's not that Jalen Brunson is whack or he's not talented. Let's be very clear about something. A lot of these players are talented. Hell, even Julius Randle is talented, but it's also about a fit, and it's also about culture, and it's also about so many of the different nuances that we tend to overlook because the guy is 20, 10, and 5, let alone the fact that we won't be honest about what that 20, 10, and 5 is sort of marinated in, efficiency and high usage and all this different stuff. I'm trying to take off the emotional blinders of, oh, I see another player performing in the playoffs. I want him. We have to have him. And it's just like, dude, you have question marks on your own roster. You need to figure out if this guy can be what you think he's going to be. And IQ, for all intent and purposes, I think right now as an NBA player, I think he's on the come up. And I think that there's no telling how far he'll actually go. I actually think he's, in my opinion, I personally think IQ is a generic dollar store Trae Young. I think his ceiling is Trae Young. And if he can be a Trae Young for us, that's a better rebounder and a better defender, why are we
got something in?
We got something there.
Ray,
and that's,
Ray.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I know it's Friday night, bro, but lay off the alcohol. I'm just joking. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding with you, bro. You my man. You my man. 50 grand. But Trae Young, man, come on, bro.
No, I said generic, please. Just like
he's saying going to Dollar General. You going to Dollar. You're not getting Jergens. You're getting lotion.
I need
you're not going to get Miller, you're going to get beer.
Yeah. How about elaborate on how he can be that? Like, instead of like just throwing out a random description. How about don't be contrite with this one? Because what happened is because Ray, on this thing we call the internet, people take what you say and they'll run with it. They've done Andy like that. They've done me like that. You know what I'm saying? They've done Andy like that with Frank Ntilikina, right? I watched 3 years ago when Andy made a Frank Ntilikina point on Nothing But Knicks, and Katz was killing Andy in the chat about Frank, right? They're killing Andy. And so in this one, don't be contrite. You need to elaborate on this one.
Well, that's why I said a generic Dollar Tree or Dollar General or whatever dollar store you shop at or whatever you pick up from that dollar. That's what IQ is right now. He is growing. He is developing. He is becoming the player that we potentially think he can become. I'm not saying he's a Trae Young. Please do not quote me as saying IQ is a Trae Young. He is not a Trae Young. Trae Young is a better playmaker. He is a star going on to a superstar. I'm not saying IQ is that. I'm saying right now at this very moment, he is a generic Trae Young who can rebound and defend better than Trae Young right now. He can't play make. He's still figuring out his decision process, and he needs to improve on that. But right now, he is a dollar store, Dollar General, Family Dollar.
So you know, Trae Young is in that evolution of point guard that's in the line of a Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
Like can get the shot whenever he want. His best skill, his best talent. Hey, Andy, let me say this real quick and I'll get out of the way, okay? So Trae Young's best talent, best physical skill is his court vision and passing. The shooting is probably a close second, but Trae Young has a playmaker's mentality where he can recognize guys. He can think the game at a high level, right? And Dame can do that too, but chooses not to, right? So are you saying that quickly, based on that info, is an elite passer, court vision type guy?
Nope.
Or are you saying that okay, so I'm lost. I'll back out of the way. I'm lost.
No. I'm simply saying that IQ in year 6, year 7 could probably be something close to a Trae Young if Trae Young continues to get better. I think Trae Young will eventually become an MVP candidate if he's not already an MVP candidate. I have to stress the fact that IQ is a dollar store, Dollar General, Family Dollar, whatever dollar you can think of.
Trae Young.
like Dame Dollar.
Sure, but that's my point. I'm just saying that there's such a high upside to IQ and what he's doing right now. We equate IQ to Lou Williams, but what is his upside? What is the absolute ceiling on IQ? Well, if I look ahead and I project what he's doing right now, could he be a Trae Young in year 6 or 7? I don't know, but I'm inclined to think that he can be something close to it. He is not Trae Young.
You know, I would say this here regarding IQ's game, because we're seeing his game actually change. Because
it's evolving.
Yeah, exactly. It's evolving because before he came off more like Sweet Lou or Lemon Pepper. He came across like Lemon Pepper Lou. But then when he played against Portland and had the game he had, his game kind of started to evolve like a Lou like he was trying to do more or less like a Dame Dollar. But then now with the Trae Young thing, with the drawing the fouls and the way he plays and moves, kind of like that. So you can see that he's actually in the film room and he's taking bits and pieces from other guards.
So Finger, he did say that. He did say he watches players as like Trae Young and those guys.
And he's taking it and he's making his own game. It's just that you see him doing more of the drawing the fouls like Trae Young. So it's kind of like everybody saying, "Oh, he's more like Trae Young," but I think he's more of an amalgam of different players, and we have yet to see which way he's gonna go. I mean, you know, right now I would say that I would still roll with him right now because I don't want us to pull the trigger on something right off. And it's not this is no slight to Brunson. Because the only fear I have for Brunson is I don't want he comes to New York and he's looked upon as the savior. Because I know it would be some to look at him as a savior, while others is looking at him as that's a point guard we need to be able to make the moves. But before any of that can actually happen, you have to make a way. I mean, because like I said, who say you don't get Brunson, you can't have Brunson and IQ. You got to get rid of Rose. You got to get rid of Rose. Kimba's gonna be gone. Rose, Kimba, and Burks. Those three, Rose, Kimba, and Burks have to go.
And
I don't think Rose gonna go.
Fournier gonna be mixed in too.
I don't think they're gonna trade Rose. They're gonna have him as a mentor.
All right, let me throw. I want to throw one more. I want to throw one more live grenade in the room. Right? I'm going to throw one more live grenade in the room. I believe if the Knicks trade Julius Randle, they're going to keep Kemba Walker.
You see, that's the funny thing with the conversation earlier about when
What you
Kemba
talking
came
about,
in.
Freezie?
Wait, what? Wait,
Julius
no,
got,
yes, you said it again.
Julius was salted like salted peanuts. He got salted because Kemba came in. Oh, that was the funny thing about the conversation earlier about the point guard. Who's the man? You see,
Right.
it
And
went
I-
over everybody's head from earlier.
the reason
Hey,
why the
I just got
Kemba
to,
thing didn't
hey,
work is because
hey.
you had ball dominant guys that did not believe that did not believe in a free flowing offense. It's what led to Evan Fournier's frustration. It's what led to Alec Burks' frustration. It's what led to Kemba Walker's frustration. When you have ball stoppers that don't believe in a free flowing offense, you're going to get these frustrations. But at the same time, if you look at it from the position or the perspective of a certified bucket getter, which Julius Randle believes he is, and RJ Barrett believes he is, they feel like they could beat any guy in the NBA at any time and score.
Any given Sunday.
And that leads you to the RJ Barrett 7 for 25 games. You know what I'm saying? The Julius Randle 6 for 23 games, right? And meanwhile, Evan Fournier is 4 for 6. Right? And you're like, man, the dude was 4 for 6. Why did he get more shots? Well, because your certified bucket getter believed that he could get his own against a defense. And so it led to the frustrations of your Kemba Walker, your Alec Burks, your Evan Fourniers, your Mitchell Robinsons, right?
The entire locker room.
Yeah. So I'm just throwing that out. You know me, I like throwing live grenades in the room. So
boom, fire in the hole.
No, hey, Freezie, what you did, you didn't throw a grenade. Hey, Freezie, you didn't try to throw a grenade. You ran in there and threw a turd in the punch bowl and ran out the back door.
And called it a snicker.
Yes.
Fire in the hole.
Yeah, and shout out to our girl Queen Steph. I think Steph was in the chat. She had
shout out to the Queen.
To chime in.
But Andy, you wanted to say something earlier? I see you had your hand up.
Yeah, I want to pull a Freezie, but he did it before me. But I got another one Freeze though. Listen, one thing is it's 2:20 a.m. here, so I'm just gonna throw this grenade and I'm gonna run. but listen, guys, because you guys mentioned D Rose, and I had this, about this, point guard situation that the Knicks are in. Listen, the Chicago Bulls are in a situation where they have to make a decision on extending Zach LaVine, right?
Yeah.
But he's not
if I'm Zach LaVine, I'm probably asking for the max contract. And I know, but bear with me, chop here. Listen, if there's one team in the NBA that D Rose would accept a trade, it's going to be the Chicago Bulls.
Hometown.
That's literally the only team that I see him being cool with getting traded to, right?
Yep.
And looking at the cap situation that the Bulls are in, they got Vucevic in a big contract. They got DeRozan in a big contract. If they extend LaVine to a max contract, they also got Lonzo in a big contract. And Lonzo was a guy that the Knicks were trying to get, but he signed literally like 2 minutes after midnight.
Right, because of tampering. And listen, and he was injured maybe probably like half of the season, right?
Yeah.
Question is, if we would treat them an injured Derrick Rose, salary is almost and I'm not saying that it's going to be 1-for-1, right? Because they ain't going to trade us, Lonzo for Derrick Rose. But for example, if we added like 2 picks for Lonzo.
Alec Burks too.
Yeah, Alec Burks is a
that expiring contract. That expiring contract is money.
If whoever wants to get him, just
Alec
go
Burks
ahead.
is napkins. You know how you place your order and they just throw napkins in the bag?
Yeah. You just get them extra. You just get them extra. You just get them extra.
Ketchup packages.
Yeah. So listen, because if Lonzo Ball somehow could play 65 games for me, I think I actually might, he might be the solution for me. Yeah. If you don't guys want to bear with Jalen Brunson or any other guy, right? I'd rather have Lonzo than I'd rather have Brogdon. like Staffa said earlier, I definitely rather have Lonzo. Question is, what's the injury situation there, right? And they signed him literally this previous off season. But if they're gonna strap their cap situation, meanwhile they get a D Rose that they can it's gonna be literally an expiring contract, and they get Alec Burks, which can go off the books. They're gonna have a little bit cap situation to add that piece for them to make that team better. Not to mention that young kid that IU
The Sumo.
the Sumo.
Yeah, the Sumo. Yeah, that he.
Listen,
yeah.
he filled in.
He
He filled in quite good, I would say. So they might try to run with that roster and have a little bit cap flexibility to add a guy around, $5.5 million, whatever, right? And like I said, I'm just gonna leave this topic with you guys. I'm gonna listen on my phone till I fall asleep and listen to the rest of the show tomorrow morning.
Salute, Andy. Have a good night, man. Enjoy your
pleasure,
night, man.
Till next time.
Good one, Andy.
What about Kobe White, Andy? And before you leave,
I take Kobe. He's a shooter, so I take him.
Yeah,
I take him. But then again, we're gonna.
I think he's too inconsistent to me.
Yeah. So I rather have Quickly than Kobe White. But if for example Quickly has to go in any other trade, I'll gladly take Kobe White.
yeah.
And with that, Andy, have a good night.
Hey Andy, as usual, it's been a pleasure. So the puppy's name. So we named him Benny.
I know
he's right here. You can see it. He's right underneath the frame, like occupying space. So he'll be 7 weeks on Monday, and so we named him Benny.
Benny.
Yeah.
What about the big dog? He ain't messing with him, like stiffing him up and
talk about the English bulldog.
Yeah,
his name is Gaston.
He's not sizing him up and like, oh.
Yeah, he's sizing him up. He slapped the puppy around a couple times. He had to go.
He's like, that's my girl. Is he talking about my girl next door? That's my girl next door. Don't even think about it. I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is, Benny is a pit bull. So Gaston is getting these licks in now because when Benny gets to, about 3 months, this whole thing is gonna flip the other direction.
He prepping them early.
Yeah. And so we're not raising them to be vicious. We raise them to be a family member. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what we do, man. We raising him to be a family member, bro. We want Benny to be around for a long time. We're gonna love the hell out of him.
So you named him Benny out of Benny the Butcher, or you just named him Benny?
No, and no, not after Benedict Mathurin, but Benny from Harlem Nights.
Harlem Nights, baby.
Benny Snake Eyes Johnson. That's a 5. No, you blind him out for that's a 7. Yeah, that Benny. It's an homage to Cornerstone Cav. Me and Cornerstone Cav used to have this thing where So that's kind of like an homage to Cornerstone Cav, wherever he at with his crazy self. Yeah, man. Hey, so guys, I'm gonna have to wrap up here too because Mocha went out with her girls. They're hanging out, and I have the dogs here by myself. So
you got Benny the Butcher with you, huh?
That's what you did. I'm sorry, I'm late.
Yeah,
them niggas done beat me up and everything.
So I'm a wrap here. I'm gonna try to jump back. I'm gonna try to jump back on for the Knicks at Night podcast. We hadn't done that in months, but if I can get the dogs to go to sleep, then I'm gonna jump back on, man, for the Knicks at Night podcast and maybe resume part of this conversation that Andy started, and then go from there. But I'm gonna just use this point as a wrap point, so the video won't be too long. And then I'm gonna try to jump back on at about 11:30, 12 after the playoff games go off, and then we can just rock until the early morning. I think Mo will probably be back by then. So
all right, then.
Yo, thank you everybody for coming through. Check out Vibes and Stuff tomorrow. We're doing a Vibes and Stuff live, a special edition in the morning, and we're gonna do a movie review tomorrow tomorrow night too.
What
Soulfinger.
movie y'all reviewing? What movie y'all reviewing?
I still don't know yet. I gotta hit up Soulfinger after this. And
It wasn't Shawshank Redemption. No, we did that.
We did that already.
We did that already. But the thing is I don't know for sure what movie we want to do, because there were a lot of moving parts to the decision making process. And so what I want to do is shore up the decision making process before we pick the movie.
Sorry, sir.
Because we have to figure out if it's a movie that we've seen or if it's a movie that we need to watch and then come to the table with fresh takes.
White Man Can't Jump. Y'all should do that.
Oh.
So Ray, we tend to try to do classic movies, like movies that are compelling. You know what I'm saying? Movies that are
that was 30 years old though.
Yeah.
That's too old.
Yeah, and so the last movie we did was a movie called The Dark Knight Rises. We broke that down and talked about the mental state of the characters in the movie and their motivations for doing the things that they did. Like how Bane was like a puppet for Talia.
So you have come back for your city, huh?
Yeah.
I ain't come back for the city. I come back for you.
Right, and so it's like how we thought Bane was the villain, but it was actually Talia, and a bigger thing, it was actually the League of Shadows where she got her motivations from. Yeah, so it's like we tend to break down movies that make you think, and White Man Can't Jump. Just some dude hitting a shot from 80 feet away, not that rim, the other rim. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Hey, they had some compelling discussions in there between Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes, yes, that was great show.
I just don't want to see Wesley Snipes in biker shorts no more, bro. I just don't.
In that hat, remember the biker hat?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we gonna go. Thank y'all, everybody, for coming through. I'm gonna hit up everybody to let y'all know.
God bless the chat, man.
If I can, because if the puppy is whining and all that stuff, I don't know about y'all, but I just can't stand hearing the puppies whine, bro. It just drives me crazy. It's like hearing a baby cry. You know what I'm saying? It just drives me
nuts.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, man. Thank y'all for coming through.
All right, blessings,
yo,
man.
Freezie, yo, big up man from Laventille. Stafford.
Yes, respect, chop.
And with y'all blessing, we might do some more Freezie's Playhouse on Fridays. Just this spot right here. So like no pressing issues. Just get together, hanging out, talking Knicks stuff. I'm not bringing topics to the table. It's just free flow, open forum where we can just jump in and get some things off our chest and maybe search for answers. That's all this show is for. So I'm a piece up everybody. I'm gonna go
pop your collar for Soulfinger. Pop your collar for Soulfinger.
Hey, Soulfinger, get at me too, bro. Get at me, Soulfinger.